Have you ever thought that the most mainstream religions are based on the dead? It's not just about honoring and remembering. Many practitioners actually work with the dead. Yes, Christians honor a dead, executed person. Yes, there are sacred remains stored in catacombs, cemeteries and crypts next to the churches, and saints whose relics are passed from temple to temple work for the church even after death. Of all the practitioners of the world, necromancers are the most respectable and invisible practitioners. Have you ever seen cemeteries in Europe, for example in Spain, surrounded by 6-foot anti-vampire walls? No, necromancers do not climb over the walls and cemeteries at night and do not desecrate graves. They come to cemeteries during opening in the morning, bring treats or flowers, and seem to just sit by the grave. They look ordinary and don't arouse suspicion even if they are not working near the grave of a relative. They bring offerings, read spells, and make their rituals. They do not even need crossing or uncrossing, baptism or debaptism, because they have no conflicts with any faith. Even the color of necro energy is considered grey. You can work with the dead for health and for prophecies and diagnostics and for gaining knowledge and for damage and even for love. Most often, necromancers prefer one favorite work in cemetery to which they feel respect. However, what's the main problem with necro energy? Necromancers more often complain about problems with financial channels, and almost always have something similar to negativity associated with vampirism and diagnostics. Why is that? It's not that necro energy is something bad. If traditionally light energy is sharp rays or zigzags and dark energy is more like clubs or smoke, then necro energy is a spiral. And it must be fed, or it will be dissipated. You won't believe it, but dark practices with demons go bad with necromancy, with very rare exceptions. Not to mention the young silly necromancers like to bring a souvenir from the cemetery with them. Then you can tie some nasty dead man to them, so it can be just nasty dead man who will feed himself at the expense of the living. Experienced necromancers have the rule of sending such guide to hacks like vampirism. Many dead, especially dead sorcerers, prefer necrobindings. Most often necromancers separate work at the cemetery from work at home, so not to burden themselves with extra vampirism. The communication channel between the cemetery and the necromancer is very important and cannot be removed. So these practitioners prefer energy recharges, more intensive financial cleanings. More often for finances they work with other entities or another practitioners. To work with the cemetery, necromancers define the cemetery as a whole entity. Sometimes this entity is personified as the master of the cemetery or the mistress or even both. In cemeteries there are special places like centers or crossroads where in theory the master can be. Often a special ritual is performed for him because the master is quite